Hello, welcome. Thanks for joining me today. This is the reference photo that I'll be sketching in this video. I put a couple of lines on here so you could see the actual perspective of how this piece is going to fit on the paper. And I'm going to start off with just my iPad on my left here just for a moment. So I'm going to pencil out those lines that I had in red. And I put the iPad there so you could see once in a while I'll reference over with my pen and just to see how the angle is and then bring the pen over to the paper. Um, it's kind of a great way to just make sure you're on point. See, I'll do that and I'll bring it over. And then I'll make those other lines that are the upper part of the building going across, and they're going on an angle. And then this lower one is angled just a little bit going down like that. So I put a couple of dots here for that very front pillar. And then we'll start going in with pen. I'm going to be using my Uniball Ultra Micro fine tip pen. And I just sped this up just one pace. And I feel like once I get that first pillar in, then everything should kind of flow from that. And especially now that I have that pencil work there. And I should have brought that pillar down just a hair, but I'll bring that down in a little bit. This restaurant is located on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples, Florida, and this restaurant is a wonderful Italian restaurant called Vergina. And we did not happen to have lunch there that day. We had lunch at a French bistro down the street that was wonderful. But this is a really nice Italian restaurant, so if you are ever in the area, I highly recommend it. They have a real fun cotton candy dessert, and they outdo themselves. It's a really wonderful place to experience. I'm going to bring that pillar down just a little bit here. I want it on that angle that I've got there. And we were visiting the Fifth Avenue street around Christmas time with family. We wanted to show them around, and we took them to look at the houses down one street off the beach, which are magnificent homes. And we just happened to play the lotto that day, so we were dreaming big and picking out which house we'd like to purchase. Needless to say, we didn't win. So one person in California won. Congratulations to them. Lucky dog. But yeah, so we had a lot of fun, and I was able to take a couple good reference photos to bring home and sketch. And this one I thought was really great. I love the two flags. I love the palm trees. I like this perspective. And of course, I love that there's a directory there with some artwork on it. So I love that. I love when you could do artwork within your artwork. I think that's so much fun. It just makes me giggle. So that was a really interesting part to this image. And I'm just doing this very loosely. I'm not trying to be perfect. My lines aren't completely straight. I'm giving it a little bit of character, giving you that little bit of that, keeping in that wonkiness. And I'm using Arches cold pressed watercolor paper. Very nice texture to it. Absorbs the paint well. Very nice paper. And I used the mechanical pencil to do the original few little lines that were done in the beginning. So here I'm going to go ahead and put that directory in. And I'm going to make sure I get that piece of art in front of that. So I'm going to stop and get that in on that easel. Some great art galleries down there too. Really beautiful art. We went into a shop that was photography, and it was just one gentleman's store, and the photography was so beautiful. I mean, it was, I'm gonna have to see if I can remember his name. His name, I just looked it up. His name is David Beavis, Beavis. And I've never seen such beautiful photography before. It just glowed. Highly recommend you looking him up. Just beautiful. I'm always amazed at how one person can have their own gallery in such a high-end area. It's it's daunting, but talk about marketing. It's incredible. Of talent, of course. That's a big part of it. So here's some palm trees up against the building. And there's a little awning in the back there. And then I'm going to put in two little pedestrians here walking down the street. And then on the side here, you've got these flower containers. And I'm just going to get them in just kind of how they are. They're kind of cut off, so and then this one I'm just going to put in that little bit of that corner of it. And then put in some bushes in those. On that lower one, you can't see anything, but I'm just going to add some little bit of greenery. And then we'll add our large, beautiful palm trees. These are stunning. And I'm not being perfect. I'm kind of making it up a little bit as I go. And then I'll put a little bit of a tree, some squiggly lines for some leaves just behind those, with some trunks and branches. I love how the eye goes right up that sidewalk to the two people. There's a little window here that I'll put in. The one that's to the left, I'm going to leave out, and the awning with the 3 windows above that, I'm going to leave that out. I've kind of run out of room. Yeah, that's about all I'm going to do for now. I'm going to grab my watercolor paint set here. These are paints that I put into this travel palette on my own, paints that I had. I'm going to wet the paper and use my cerulean blue, and I'm going to go even over the palm trees, because that green, when that dries, I'll put green over it, and that green will cover that blue. So I'm not needing to go around those. Using a little yellow ochre, and I'm going a little bit brighter than the actual trim work on that building, because I want it to be bright and fun. Make it your own. And I'm using my Dugato Zero mop brush. A little bit of cad red and raw umber for those planter containers. And a little Payne's gray with a little bit of cad red and some yellow ochre. That will be, I'm going to do the whole street this color. It's kind of grayish red. It doesn't show it very red in the image, but it was reddish brown pavers, so I'm going to brighten that street up a little bit. And just some Payne's gray for any of the dark areas. I forgot this little area here. There looks like there's a little bit of a awning there that comes down to prevent the rain from coming into the patio. I'm going to leave that out. I'm just going to leave it as an open area. And I'm using Payne's gray and yellow ochre for the brickwork on those pillars. I love yellow ochre and Payne's gray together. It's really great for sand as well, like if you're doing a beach scene. And I'm trying to be careful and not get into any wet paint. Try to keep it separate. I'm going to give the flag some of her stripes. I love when there's a flag, an American flag. And there's the Italian flag. That's wonderful. I love doing flags. It's a great symbol. And I'm bouncing around because I'm letting areas dry. And then I'll go to an area that's I know is dry, and I'll be able to paint so it won't bleed. And the front of those, bottom of those pillars is a little bit lighter gray. And a little darker green on that Italian flag. And just little dots. I've switched to my number 5 round brush because it's a little bit finer tip. So I can get in those little details of the flag and that little sconce there. So the interior has the same brickwork as the outside pillars that carries on inside, but unfortunately I did not make it dark enough, but I will go back in later and make that a little bit darker because it's all shadowed inside. And now that I know that my sky is dry, I'm going to go ahead and put in all my greenery, and that's with a mix of phthalo light green, sap green, a little bit of yellow, cad yellow. I like my greens bright. Let me add a little bit more sap green. And then this directory is a pretty straightforward sap green. A little bit darker, could be a little darker. Add a little hooker's green to that later. And this gentleman has a blue shirt, and the gentleman sitting inside gave him a blue shirt, little red shirt. And here I'm going to do a little painting. It looks like it's either seagulls or pelicans in the painting. I'm not quite sure. I think it's seagulls. So I did like a little scenery in there, and then I'll finish the birds later with pen. And there's some lights, some little Christmas lights in the window there. So I put just some dots of yellow and then added the trunks to the trees with some raw umber. Little shadow on the front of the building with just a little bit of Payne's gray and the cerulean that was on the palette there. Just a soft shade of gray. And it's a little busy back there, right in that area. So I'm just kind of making do and doing a little bit of this and that, not being too precise on it. And a little bit of yellow ochre for the faces. And I'm going to do a little bit of a darker, little bit more Payne's gray into that mix and just give us some little brick shade, different shades of brick color or stone. Could be marble. A little shadow underneath that awning. And I'm just going to do a little bit of shadow so it looks like the folds of the flags aren't so flat. So the flags don't look so flat. I put some shadows, that is. And a little shadowing underneath there and up and down the street with some Payne's gray. Very light. It's coming together. So now that I know everything is dry, I'm going to go in and do some more pen work. And this time I grabbed my Uniball Micro. It's a little bit bolder tip. Not much, but a little. I'll put in the sign. So you just have to kind of look around and see what you want to enhance, what things you would like to stand out. And go light. Do go very light because you can always add more. You can't take away once you do that pen. A little shadowing underneath some of these big urns and the trim work on the top. And here I put the little birds in my painting. And I'm just going to outline this sign on the directory, make it a little bit neater. And I'm not going to do exactly what it says. Just going to do some squiggles that look like words. And I'll add a little bit of the detail to the palm tree trunks. That always gives them a nice little finished look to their trunks. And now I'm going to go in with my Uni Pasca, and this is where I'll do some of that white line work, like the grout in between the stones. I'll put some little clouds and some waves in my little painting. Just anywhere where you think you need a little pop of white. I always like to go back in and do some spatters. I'll do blue and some green. Now, this area needs to be a lot darker, as you could see in the image. So I'm going to go back in towards the end here and darken that up with some shadows. There's no depth there, so I know that needs to go darker. And adding a little pop of, little brighter yellow ochre here and there. So here's where I'm going to go back in. After I looked at it for a little while, that's when I was like, this needs to go darker. So that's when I decided to go in with some Payne's Gray and a little bit of yellow ochre and just give us a little more shadowing in there because that's the interior and it was definitely too bright. That's looking better. I'm going to go a little darker on this directory here. I want this to pop a little bit. And I'm going to be putting a little bit more green into those palm trees as well. With some sap green. So here is my finished sketch, and it turned out really cute. I love it. I think it's just so much fun. And I love that it's a memory, a photo that I took. It's a memory of spending the holidays with my family. Yeah, it's nice. I like that. So if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out. Love to hear from you. And if you like this video, give me a like, give me a thumbs up. And also, if you're not a subscriber, please do so. Help me grow my channel so I can bring you more content, because I really enjoyed doing this and I hope you enjoyed it as well. So, and I'll leave a list of all the supplies I used in the description below. And feel free to click any links. They'll take you directly to where you can purchase those as well. So I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you find time to sketch. And I want to thank you for your time. And bye for now.